Greetings, Matt Poynton here, and I'm sitting at the Cave of the Seven Sleepers in Amman in Jordan. And as I'm here, I'm going to talk to you about two of the short stories that I wrote years and years ago. The one of them was, and I actually can't even remember the title I gave it. I think it was The Four Sleepers, and or The Sleepers in the Cave. It may have been called The Sleepers in the Cave, and the other one was called The Four Sleepers of Jerusalem. And they were both based on my reading of the Qu'ran. So I'd read the Qu'ran quite before, about 2005 time, 2006 perhaps. I'd read the Qu'ran, and then there was one of the surahs, the Surah al-kahf, means the Surah of the Cave, which tells the story of these seven sleepers, and I think they had a dog with them. And they go to sleep in this cave, and there are two claimants for the location. This in Amman is one, there's another in Ephesus. And they fell asleep and woke up like 100 years later. And for some reason, this story stuck with me. And I thought I would write my own version. So I wrote this story about the sleepers in the cave. And it was about these four murderers that had escaped from prison. And at the time, I was working in HMYY Warrington. So I think the prison in my mind was the one in Warrington. And they ran away. And they escaped across the moors. And then when they were tired and they'd tired of running, they found a cave. And they went into the cave, fell asleep, and they woke up, and it was 100 years later. And the whole point of the story is how they deal with it. It was very much told as a bit of a parable with a lot of repetition. And the first one goes down, and he was a murderer, he was a thief, and he works out that 100 years have passed. So he thinks, oh great, all those people are after me. They're gone, I can commit crime again. So he commits crime, gets caught, and gets back in prison. And then another one, he goes down and he works out 100 years has passed. And then he realizes everybody knew and cared about is dead, and he's devastated about it. And he kills himself because he can't cope with the fact that everything he loved and everything he cared about is gone. The third one, he deals with it in a different way. So he goes down, realises 100 years has passed, realises he's been redeemed, tells people about it, and then makes himself a bit of a kind of cult celebrity who sits and talks about the good old days. And he's really unhappy in this modern time. He wishes he was back in the old days. And he sits there and moans about how stuff used to be better than it is now. And then the final one is the one who actually adjusts. And he adjusts and he gets an education, he learns to live in the new world and flourishes and does well. So that was my Four Sleepers story. And I'm really proud of this story. I think it's actually one of my best ones. And it's very much like a parable. And I was so pleased with it, I decided to write another version. It's called The Four Sleepers of Jerusalem. And in that, there's four Jews from the Jewish community in Jerusalem in, would say, the late 17th century, perhaps early 18th. They go up onto the Mount of Olives. And then they fall asleep in a cave. And then the same thing happens. They wake up, come down, and realize time has passed. And they symbolically, each one enters Jerusalem through a different gate. And it's in our time, and one of them is very pleased that the Jewish state has been established. They can't believe it, how fantastic it is. Another one is devastated that all their Arab neighbours are like the Jews are actually suppressing their Arab neighbours, and they feel so ashamed about it. The third one is just devastated that their home is gone, all their family is gone, and they can't cope with this. And the fourth one is, I suppose, again, the most enlightened one, and they say, okay, well, here's a time to be reborn. Here's a time. God's given me another chance. Let's see what goes with it. And then they all, at the end, they meet at the Kotel, the Wailing Wall, which is the place where world Jewry unites despite their differences. So they are my two cave stories. And here is cave, possibly, that inspired the first and most famous cave story of them all. The Cave of the Seven Sleepers.